This is Vladimir Putin, the most hated man in America. It wasn't always this way. At one point, Putin was a great ally to the US and even warned George Bush 2 days before 9/11 that a terrorist attack might happen. Bush didn't listen. Now Putin is making another warning. A new central bank digital currency, or CBDC, sponsored by Russia and China, aimed to take down the US dollar. But will we listen to Putin's warning this time?
34% of our transactions are made in rubles and about as much, a little over 34% in yuan. Why did the United States do this? They probably thought it would lead to full collapse, but nothing collapsed. Moreover, other countries, including oil producers, are thinking of and already accepting payments for oil in yuan. What are you doing? You are cutting yourself off. All experts say this. Ask any intelligent and thinking person in the United States what the dollar means for the US. You're killing it with your own hands.
With the US presidential election only days away, it might seem like Orange Man versus California Mom is the most important thing happening. It's not. It's a footnote compared to the 2024 BRICS meeting that happened in all places, Mother Russia.
Meanwhile, at the Legion of Doom. Not now! Okay.
A quick reminder, BRICS stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, which now represent the most powerful economic bloc in the world. BRICS now also includes potential World War III participants, Egypt, Iran, and Saudi Arabia. At last week's BRICS meeting, two things happened. One, BRICS announced their new CBDC called the Unit Plus. Basically, the idea is to create a neutral currency for outside trade between countries inside BRICS because the US dollar has become too politicized and US inflation is skyrocketing. Two, BRICS countries announced they will be using the yuan for global trade instead of the US dollar. As they argue, the Chinese yuan is backed by Chinese exports, while the American dollar is only backed by the United States military. Putin and Chinese President Xi Jinping are making a direct challenge to the dollar.
Возможно это сделать или нет? Конечно, да. Потребует немало усилий. Объединение усилий многих стран. Но сделать это можно. И это исключит возможность злоупотребления в сфере новой глобальной финансовой инфраструктуры. Позволит эффективно, выгодно и безопасно обходиться при международных сделках без доллара и других так называемых резервных валют.
Today we want to focus on the new BRICS CBDC, the Unit Plus, and answer the question, is the dollar's power really fading? Is Putin grinning from ear to ear? Buckle up, we're diving in. This is Isaiah McCall from 99 Bitcoins, and let's get into it. But first, a word from our sponsors. This video is brought to you by Freedom Fighters. Buy Freedom Tokens to vote for your favorite candidate this election season, either Comicop or Magatron. The choice is yours. You can also stake Freedom Tokens and get some sweet rewards, so check it out in the description below. Now, back to the video. How will a new BRICS currency affect the US dollar? Western analysts have doubted BRICS from day one. Too different, too divided, they said. But 15 years later, BRICS is stronger than ever. To get what they're talking about, imagine Russian music. Cold, intense, and full of vodka-induced sadness. It also sometimes sounds like this. But whether you take them seriously or not, BRICS are the most powerful economic bloc by far, and are projected to represent 1/3 of the entire planet's population by 2029. So what's all the hubbub about the new BRICS CBDC platform discussed this year? The term you need to understand here is DLT, or Distributed Ledger Technology, what we all know as blockchain. BRICS wants to use blockchain because the tech has become faster, cheaper, and more secure than TradFi. Why trust a banker when you can trust a blockchain? In a BRICS-sponsored research paper, they say, quote, we propose a new multinational platform based on modern technologies, which would include a financial messaging component and allow settlement via tokens backed by national currencies and CBDCs. In other words, the dollar. CBDCs are pretty much like Bitcoin, except they're centralized by the government. This is what Russia and China want. Here's Putin's thoughts on the new system.
И многие другие быстро развивающиеся экономики мира, в том числе Китай, Индия, государства Латинской Америки. И важно координировать совместные усилия по формированию такой новой децентрализованной мировой финансовой системы. Конечно, от этой децентрализации будет в значительной степени зависеть устойчивость всех мировых финансов. Чем более децентрализованно.
BRICS touts their new CBDC system as a potential 15 billion annual savior, though places like JP Morgan say it could save 100 billion. In terms of what blockchain they will use to create the new BRICS system, the jury is out though it could be XRP or XLM, which are the top 2 payment network cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin's even on the table, as Russians have been mining it like no tomorrow. A surprise new blockchain could also emerge. Maybe the symbol will be Putin wrestling a bear, who knows? De-dollarization was also a huge topic at this year's BRICS summit. De-dollarization is BRICS nations wanting to stop relying on the US dollar for trade, and it's already happening worldwide. Global reserves in USD have dropped from 70% to 60% in just a decade. This might be why Donald Trump wants to pull the US back from the global stage and end the sanctions against Russia. Trump recently said that if the US loses its reserve status, we will fall as an empire.
Problem with what we have with sanctions, and I was a user of sanctions, but I'd put them on and take them off as quickly as possible, because ultimately it kills your dollar and it kills everything the dollar represents, and we have to continue to have that be the world currency. I think it's important. I think it would be losing a war if we lost the dollar as the world currency. I think that would be the equivalent of losing a war.
This should spell out to you that globalization is dying. There's one more way that BRICS talked about weakening the US dollar at this year's summit, and it's this: the biggest threat ever to the US dollar as the reserve currency. In addition to the new BRICS CBDC and Project Enbridge for cross-border settlements, something we covered a few months ago, check out the video here. Russia and China used this Kazan summit to push for a new denomination for oil, the PetroYuan. And once again, the Saudis are the biggest cheerleaders for this new system. Here's attractive journalist Molly Gambier with more.
S&P Ratings predicts that the deepening economic relations between China and Saudi Arabia, it will boost the use of yuan for oil purchases. However, they also caution that it will take time for these trades to become fully profitable.
We came to recognize the reality of today, that China had taken a lead, will continue to take that lead. We don't have to compete with China, we have to collaborate with China, so as also collaborating with everybody else.
While it is true the US dollar is no longer pegged to gold after 1971, it's pegged to something far better: oil, aka fossil fuels.
But surely our ancestors must have left some evidence behind. Why is he nervous?
For decades, Saudi Arabia only sold oil in US dollars, and we sold them US Treasury bills before they went to market. That's what we call the petrodollar. The petrodollar kept the dollar strong even after we ditched the gold standard. Now, for the first time ever, the Saudis are cozying up to China and Russia, agreeing to sell oil in Chinese currency. In many ways, the petrodollar system put America in a catch-22 because the US national debt thrives on the petrodollar. To use an analogy, imagine you're the kid at school who brings candy every day. The reason you're able to do that and score all the hot chicks is because your dad not only owns a candy store, he runs the freaking chocolate factory, i.e. the Federal Reserve. As long as everyone needs the US dollar or the candy, you're the king. And you get diabetes, and you get diabetes. However, rival candy stores will eventually set up their own chocolate factory, creating rules that better suit them than the ones they play in now. That's what BRICS is doing, relying on the PetroYuan and leaving the US dollar. Nobody can own the chocolate factory forever. As the old saying goes, power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Some people have a pacemaker. I've got an anxiety maker. I wear it on my chest, and every time a colleague wants to talk to me, they have to look at the debt just spinning away. It goes to the Treasury's website every day to get the accurate number. So yes, this is the regime debt, probably not the actual debt.
A big caveat: if you think BRICS wants to kill the dollar, you couldn't be further from the truth. BRICS can't kill the dollar. Not yet. Debt in US dollars runs the Chinese real estate markets and international trade, allowing for the entire global economy to grow. To use our candy store analogy again, the other countries haven't built a chocolate factory yet that can compare the US Federal Reserve. This is all to say the US dollar isn't going anywhere anytime soon. According to IMF data, 2.40% of the world's reserves are held in yuan, compared to 55% for the dollar. So the dollar isn't leaving, but the slow decline has begun. If nothing changes, there will come a day when people lose faith in the US dollar, and the transition to a new system will be the real World War III. Hopefully the orange man or California mom can find a way to save the dollar. Will that likely happen though? Just kidding. Maybe it will. We'll see. A final thought. Whether you're Team America or living in Europe, remember, China and Russia think they're the heroes in this story too. They have no reason to trust us as Americans. After all, we spent the last 50 years waging wars we had no business fighting. While war might line the pockets of Raytheon and General Dynamics, for everyone else, it just fuels resentment. There's a reason that images like this go viral every single year. That's the gasoline on the BRICS fire, the reason so many countries are rebelling against us. Who you see as a rebel is a hero to their own people. But despite all the hype, the 2024 BRICS Summit revealed a few cracks. China and Russia want to rally the global powers against the entire American empire, especially with Iran joining their summit. Meanwhile, countries like Brazil and India aren't looking to pick a side in a war. They want to reform the global order, not tear it down like Iran. We'll keep a close eye on this tug of war between BRICS nations. Yet in some ways, BRICS has already won. As Putin himself put it, the fall of the US empire started the moment boots hit the ground in Ukraine. And if he's right, it's time to start stocking up on canned corn and toilet paper.
$6 for a roll of toilet paper?
На что хотел бы обратить внимание? Они должны были бы понять, что уже проиграли с самого начала нашей специальной военной операции, потому что ее начало означает и начало кардинального слома миропорядка по-американски.
Hey guys, we're trying to bring a lot more long-form, high-quality videos like this to the channel. So if you like these, please comment down below, like and subscribe. Let us know so we can keep these going and so my boss doesn't fire me. And if you want to check out more of the long-form, high-quality content we're trying to do, be sure to check out videos here, there. They're probably going to pop up somewhere. So check those out. Have a good day.